All right, so for numbers 6 through 13, you're going to determine if each situation is linear or quadratic and how you know. You should have tried this already, so you should be checking your answers. If you haven't, go back and try this first. It's really important that you can determine this yourself. So you should just be checking your answers. So number 6, Michelle can throw a football 100 yards. Well, let's think about this. What does it look like if Michelle throws a football? Well, it kind of goes up and then it comes back down. And that would be quadratic, and specifically because it's quadratic because the ball went up and it came back down, and it makes a curve. A curve is what a quadratic looks like. Mark is making $100 a day for 100 days straight. Well, if we think about that, we have day 1, day 2, day 3, so on and so forth. It's $100 plus $100 plus $100. Well, that is linear because the pattern is adding. So that adding pattern is a linear pattern. Over the course of a work week, Melanie made $50 on Monday, $40 on Tuesday, $30 on Wednesday, $40 on Thursday, and $50 on Friday. So let's think about this in terms of a graph. What does that kind of look like? So in this graph, here's our $50, so 40, 30, 20, 10, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It doesn't look perfect, and that's okay. So it starts at 50, then down to 40, then down to 30, then up to 40, then up to 50 again. Well, that doesn't make a straight line. It makes kind of a curve. So that's going to be more quadratic because it's curving down and then back up. An arrow being launched from a bow. Let's think about that. So this is my terrible drawing, but if you have a bow and arrow and you shoot that bow, well, eventually it goes up, eventually it comes back down. So it is quadratic because the arrow is going up and eventually comes back down. Now this one's a little tricky. The first 3 feet of an arrow being launched from a bow. So we have the same situation, but we're just looking at the first 3 feet. So we have the arrow. It's probably 100 feet or so before it actually hits the ground. So we're just about that first 3 feet. Well, for the first 3 feet of shooting a bow and arrow, it is going to be linear. It's going to go straight for at least those first 3 feet before it starts curving down. So I would call that linear because it travels straight first, and then eventually it starts curving down. And finally, for the ones I kind of reviewed here, Aranelli had $0 in her bank. Over time, she was able to save $300. She then went and spent it in the same amount of time as it took to save. Sad face. Well, if we think about Aranelli's money, she has $0, then saves up to $300 and spends it, goes back down to $0. That looks like a quadratic because her money went up and then it comes back down. So you should start to see some patterns between these two different things and see if you can apply those to 12 and 13. These are just numbers, but the pattern of these numbers, is it a linear or is it a quadratic? Well, if I look at this first one, 3 to 7 to 11, I know I can tell that I'm adding 4 each time, right? This is like plus 4, plus 4. So this is linear because it's adding. And then this one, well, let's think about this. 4, 5, 4. Well, this is quadratic because it's going up and then coming back down. Because it's going up, and then coming back down. Okay, so go ahead and finish up this assignment. I think you have one more part to complete.